Resident Evil 7. Capcom's returning to survival horror roots with Resident Evil 7, or so they'd love you to believe. You know, there's already a bunch of positive previews out for this game, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the best thing since sliced bread. You go on YouTube, you type in a Resident Evil 7 preview, and a bunch of previews pop up with nothing but shills who are willing to shill the product for a paycheck. That's so disingenuous. That's not what I'm doing here today. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm going to tell you what I really believe in, and I believe at this current point in time that Resident Evil 7 could potentially be a big, huge disappointment. Why? I have 3 reasons. Number 1, it's boring. I played the demo, and not only have I played the demo just like each and every one of you, I have watched leaked gameplay from the final product. Many things have been spoiled to me, and that's okay, because I really don't have too much desire to play the game. I mean, I might, I don't know for sure, but look, it's boring. That I can tell you, at least from my perspective. All you do is walk around. And when something does happen, it's like, oh, a monster popped out. And then you die, and then you respawn back in, and you have to go through that same exact sequence once again, therefore making it not scary. That's another thing, and that's my actually second point. This game isn't scary. It's anything but scary. I don't know what game you guys are playing. But not only am I bored out of my freaking skull when I play this game, no matter what happens, it's not scary. You want to know a scary game? I'll tell you right here, right now, a scary game. And I know some people are going to be like, really? Are you serious, Michael? I can't take you serious. I don't care. I really don't care. Slender. The first Slender game is scarier than Resident Evil 7. Why? It's unpredictable. You never know when the Slender Man is going to pop out. Every time you boot the game up, it's a different experience. Resident Evil 7, the complete opposite. It's a scripted type of game, a very, very linear type of game. And that's not what works in a horror game. You want to make a scary horror game? You make it different every time for the player so that when the player plays the game again, he or she is going to have a different experience. That's how you make it work. You know, Resident Evil 3 is a scary game. Why is Resident Evil 3 a scary game? Well, it's because Nemesis pops out at random. You never know when Nemesis is going to be in your area. You know, all of a sudden as you're playing the game as Jill and you're trying to figure out these puzzles and you hear a damn door slam and it's like, stairs. You know, that shit's scary. That's what made Resident Evil great in the first place. Not only that, but the fixed camera angles and the tank controls. I know everyone complains about those things, but that's what made Resident Evil work. It ain't bad game design. Those were deliberate choices. Deliberate choices in order to evoke an emotion out of the player, to build suspense, you know, to set the mood, the vibe, the atmosphere. Come on, folks. Resident Evil 7 doesn't do any of that. So it's not scary. It's not scary. Last but not least, this isn't my Resident Evil. You know, when Resident Evil 6 came out, I thought, what in the hell is this? This is a freaking action game. An action game with the Resident Evil name slapped on it, and that's it. And I thought, man, they really got to go back to the drawing board. Then when I heard about Resident Evil 7, when they initially announced it, I'm like, yeah, a return to survival horror. You know? I downloaded the demo, and I'm like, really? I was excited at first, I'll be honest. But then the more and more that I played it, I realized that it's not only boring, but it's not scary, and that it's not Resident Evil. You know, something that I forgot to mention earlier is that this game, Resident Evil 7, is completely, totally playable in VR. Y'all know that, right? I'm sure you got the headsets ready and all warmed up. Okay, cool. But I think, in hindsight, when you all look back on this, you're like, damn, this really wasn't all that fantastic. And I know, you know, if you go out and say that on the internet, you're going to have an unpopular opinion like I do. That's okay, that's fine. But you got to really stand with what you believe in. Anyway, I really think when people look back on this, in hindsight, they're going to realize that that kind of hindered the product from what it really could have been, you know, because they have to tailor the game and its experience to fit in, like, and work in, like, the VR environment, if you know what I mean. I mean, yeah, that's the definitive way to play it, I'm sure, and maybe that ramps up the scariness, but not everyone has a PSVR headset.